All right, let's call this meeting to order here at 5:41 for a special call of the Special Needs Advisory Board. Let's start with roll call. Vivian?
Here.
Jasenia?
Here.
I'm here. Francisco?
Here.
Clary?
Here.
Alexandra?
Here.
And Madeline?
Present.
All right, we're all here. Order of business, first, any deferrals, additions, deletions. I have one thing to add to B under old business, and that is committee reports, budget update. Anyone else want to add anything, take anything out?
I would like to add the budget itself. Because one thing is the budget in regards to the committee report and then the budget itself, like there's some things that.
Make that
we'll
B,
vote on.
make that B, and then we'll make the report C, because the budget's more important to talk about first. So budget B, report budget C. Anyone else? That'll be the order in which we go. Do we ever have to motion that in there, or we just say we want it in there?
I think we have to motion, yeah.
So I motion to add those two items to the agenda.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Public comment, there is none. We'll skip past that. Let's get right into it. The Special Needs Advisory Registry flyer approvals. That's our first order of business.
Finally, we have one.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank our team upstairs for coming through on this with just a little bit of email input. Thank you so much, because it looks a heck of a lot better than the other one did. What I need you guys to do is look over it, see if you think there's any issues with it, if you have any changes to it. Otherwise, we want to vote to get an approval so they can begin printing them. Remember, this one's going to be on that 5x7 card. It's going to be back to back. Front is going to be this, back is going to be the Spanish version. So check the Spanish version specifically and let me know if there's anything on there. And then we'll vote for English, we'll vote for Spanish, and then we'll double check the other two flyers that are on here as well before we do a final vote for French. Feel free to blurt out anything that needs to be changed at any point.
I love these pictures.
They're perfect, aren't they? I actually thought it was ingenious that they made the QR code piece smaller so they could put the text underneath it. I didn't even think about that.
And it will be that size card. Like that.
Yeah. To me, I've looked over English. I don't really see anything on there, but you guys might see something on the Spanish side, the translations.
I'm glad we changed seguro to segura, because I was like, wait a minute, that's insurance.
Keep your family's insurance.
Sure. No. Permite que el personal de respuesta a emergencias o permita que el personal de manejo de emergencias.
Didn't we make a change to that before on the other flyer?
I don't remember.
I think we did. Check the other flyer.
No hay manejo de emergencia. Personal.
Because remember, the text up here is the same as the text down here.
Oh.
The same.
Yeah, they're the same.
I love the two images.
I think they really stand out. Anyone have any comments, anything you had on it, or you guys weren't ready?
I
to
don't want
vote?
it changed. I just thought the nurse's head should have been a little bit lower.
A little lower.
It's okay, she's not there.
I'm just saying. That's the only thing I know to do, like.
The old lady's going for it.
And then if we put too much of her, then we take attention away from.
Good answer.
I know what
I
you're.
said I didn't want to change it. I just said, I just wish it was a little bit, her whole frame.
If the picture was large enough, it's probably because of the width. If it was large enough, you could size it down a little
They
more.
could have just
Cut off her own.
slide all down the image. That's it.
No, if you size it down, you bring her head in.
No, like,
It's okay.
No. I'm saying like instead of
He wants
cutting
to
off
see
her
all
arm,
the flyers.
you know, like imagine the photo being this big. If you sized it down, it should fit in here. But I'm guessing that because of the width of the sides, it's probably what happens is it's bringing open the black space. And they can't go any further than that. I'm assuming that's what.
Still, you get the message. So.
Yeah, I get the message, it works. Any comments, anybody ready, or are we ready to vote?
In the Spanish one,
Mhm.
the instructions under the QR code. Does that all be, capital letter?
I don't think it makes a difference because it's a website.
In the English one, it's in caps.
Yeah.
No,
or-
it says last SNAP o escanel. Or escanal.
Now, that's supposed to be an or.
Understand there's two options. Right, but should it be in capital letter?
In the English one, it is, like in the private. Or in the English
Or.
version is also.
Okay, then I get what I see what they did, okay.
But both are capital.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right, because it's like emphasizing or instead of or.
anyone else?
Or.
Okay, guys, let's take a vote. So starting with the front part of the 5x7 card, the English version, I motion to pass it as is. All those in favor?
I,
Motion passed.
Now, the next
Okay.
part, which is actually ordering it
Yeah, I know, we're approving this first and at the end we'll order it.
at the end of what?
The end of the flyers. We're saying yes to the flyer design,
The reason why I say is because
because we've already budgeted to pay for them. We're just waiting for approval.
we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A long
I think
time
we
ago.
did.
I know we did a long time ago.
We set aside a budget to print for both of them.
But this one specifically.
Mhm.
Yeah, we had like 2 sets of flyer. We started working on it, we started doing that when our mother said like that's the size that he wanted.
Yeah,
It
we already,
was easier to work with.
we had already agreed on doing the flyer, but he wanted to change the size.
Yeah, but did we ever say, okay, we're gonna
how
send
much
many,
allocated.
how many, this is. The reason why I say, because remember, it's approving it, but we need it, so we can have it for the health fair.
The only thing I can say is that Alexander will have to research. So why don't we do the approvals of the flyers?
Yes, yes, yes.
They usually take 24 hours to print out, 24 to 48 hours to print.
No, that's the least of
Yeah, but we need.
The point
before
is
we
to
leave,
have
we
it
make
for
sure.
their folder.
You know how much.
Okay, so let's go for it.
I think we sent
I motion to approve the flyers as they are.
all of them. You just want to go through all of them?
I thought we did already.
No, we just voted on the English.
Yeah.
Now we're going to the Spanish.
You can do them all at once. If you guys don't think there's anything to
Okay,
change.
let's do one by one, just in case, so there's no confusion.
Okay.
Okay, so I motion to approve the English.
Spanish. We did the English one already.
Okay, I motion to approve the Spanish
Five.
flyer for the special needs registry, the 5x7.
A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. I don't think we have to approve the English version because we approved it at the last time, the last meeting, so the English version of the kids flyer is good. But we do need to approve the Spanish version because we asked for the changes were made, so just double check that the changes were made, that they're like you guys wanted. I mean, it's the same as the other ones, so it should be okay. I would check that bottom fourth bullet, because that's the one that's different.
Can someone, remind me as to why two different flyers?
One's for kids, one's for adults.
And the big one is gonna be sent to Miami, public schools, because they wanted a 8.5 by 11 flyer.
And the other one's for Officer Amador and for us to carry around like our little cards.
So we can give out whenever we have a table somewhere. Or if we want. if we-
So the second one is mainly geared to the Dade County Public Schools.
School,
Yeah.
well, and schools and therapy centers. So we're gonna give these to some of the therapy centers in the area. The private schools and the public schools, once they give us the approval. Both of them are back to back, the little cards back to back, the 8x10, the 8x11 flyers are back to back. So that way we can save money on the print and we can give them the opportunity to have it. I just need to make sure that all of the changes you guys requested are here and you don't see any issues with the words, specifically this fourth bullet point. Sound okay, guys? Did you read through it? Okay. I motion to pass the Spanish version of the child flyer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, now. Now we would need to make a motion to have the flyers printed. Any luck on finding where we said we were gonna pay for it? What we could do is we could just go ahead and do another one.
That's
Cancel
what
out the
I'm
previous
thinking.
one.
I think it would be better, because what if we did and it was for something else, or, and we do need it, like,
Yeah, we need to make that.
Not to
so-
mention it's fresher and it's
Yeah.
ready there. We don't have to go back looking for it.
Okay,
But the question is, how much does it cost?
well, I think what we do is a blanket number and then we just let them run based off the numbers we wanted. Because I don't know if we know how much the cost is gonna be. The original quote was something like, wasn't it like 200 for the little ones? It was Victoria who was with us when we got the quotes. So that's how long ago it's been, we've been trying to get the flyers.
yeah, and I think when it passes a certain amount of time, I think we have to
Yeah,
vote it in.
we either can wait for Gabby to come back and ask her what she thinks the cost would be. Or we could just, I was gonna say, just give a blanket vote. We could give like $1,000 budget for printing. Or a $500 budget for printing, or whatever you guys wanna say. And then we just tell them how many prints we want done. And whatever the cost difference is, it just goes back to us anyway. That way we don't have to sit around and guess, we can just give them a blanket number. Does that sound good to you guys?
You wanna do? You have any idea how much you wanna do? If you wanna do 500, 1,000,
I would say that the little card, there should be 1,000.
and
agree?
the ones for
That
Miami
sounds good.
schools.
The small one, I think we could do. What do you guys think? 300-400 prints?
It'll be 100, 200, 500. That's usually the breakdown.
So it's either 2 or 5. We haven't gotten approval from Miami-Dade yet, and I'm sure they would print that out themselves, won't they? Or do we have,
Date?
do they print it or do we have to print it?
We have to print it.
Okay, Missouri's a little different. They don't let you bring in the paper, they print it. So, but we have to submit this for approval, for final approval, so we don't need to print it right away for the school districts, but we can give it to the private centers and the private schools. I don't assume we
And
would
we could
need
give it to charters too.
in charters. I don't assume we would need more than.
200 doesn't sound like a lot. 200,
I think 500.
yeah, I'd say at least 500.
So let's do 500 and then 1,000 for the little card.
I cannot.
Do you have any idea what the printing cost is for this?
They don't have like,
I don't think so, I can find out.
I think we're.
And then, yeah, you said, the flyers, like, to the Miami-Dade public schools within the town,
So what we're gonna do is this, we're gonna put a blanket number down so we can get some of these printed out and have them ready for the health fair. If we need to add more, we'll add more. If we need to subtract more, we can don't have to worry about it. So then, let's go ahead. I'm gonna make a motion that we set a new budget for the flyers. The 5x7 flyer, we want 1,000 of the 5x7 flyers. And the 8.5 by 11, we want 500 of those. Is $500 enough for that print?
I say yes.
Everybody agree?
I say.
I'm sorry, how many for the schools?
500,
No, for the schools, 500.
because we don't have approval from Miami-Dade yet. We're using the 500 to go to all the private schools and stuff.
The second one.
Yeah, the big one.
one.
So 500 of those, 1,000 of the small ones, and I'm thinking we budget $500. Anyone says no to that one?
I can text you guys a quote as soon as I get out here, because I can open anything.
Well,
Oh my
I know
God.
that we have, that's who we did it with last time, someone that the town uses.
Yeah, they have their
Yeah.
own.
There probably is, yeah, so that's something I'm trying to find out, and then the prices.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, you're saying to print the flyer 500 to give out to the private schools until we get approval from Dave?
Yes, when we get Dave, we'll come back in.
How
and
many
do it.
private schools do we have in the city or town?
Yeah, but it's also gonna be used for resources, for local agencies.
I think we have 3 or 4.
I don't think it's a lot, that's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
I think we have 3 or 4 private schools, and then we have maybe 8 to 10 agencies.
But just
I don't
keep in
think
mind
500 is
that
enough.
there
if
is
you want-
also others, well,
This is are they putting it in students? Like,
No, it's not going to backpacks.
placing it in-
This is for the front rooms. Because it's different for the school district. When the school district gets approval, that's different. They want to put it in there, that's fine. If the school wants to do backpacks, then we need to come back and ask for more. There's no sense in printing out a case full of stuff that we don't, unless you guys think we're gonna actually give out a case full.
I just want clarification where it's gonna go.
So I
If
was
you're thinking like,
thinking,
Our Lady of the Lakes is what? K through 12? I'm not sure. 2, 3, 8, at least 500. How many people will actually go
I'm
to the front
assuming,
desk?
I'm
you know?
assuming 50 flyers per
I
organization.
don't know how the other schools do it, but about Graham, the admin, they usually just send like a PDF file to all the teachers and tell the teachers to send it to the parents. So,
Right.
like I post it on Class Dojo whenever they send me a file.
So in our aspect here, this thought of this, the printed version is to have it in the front office if they allow such a thing. Most of them do. And the idea was we give them a set number of them to have, and if they run out, then they can let us know, but I doubt that they will. And I was thinking 50 per organization, at 50, 150, 250, 350, 450, 500. This gives you at least close to 10 different places that you can go to.
Okay.
To start off with. We could even divide it less than that if you guys think. Of course, input is needed. What do you guys think? You think differently from that? You think we should do more?
Like in my school also, we send a PDF and of course, unfortunately, they get the main one. And then they run their own photocopy, which is obviously going to take up a lot of toner and it's gonna look ugly, but that's what whoever Dade County does. But it depends where you're gonna reach it. Like, we don't have a lot of people coming to the front office every day, only mainly pick up their kid and leave. It's not, unless they're planning to put it like more in the backpack or in even the classrooms that have ESC students. That's 500 is a low number. It all depends what you
Well,
want.
if you're looking
What
at
do you want to
Our
reach?
Lady of the Lakes, or is it Our Lady? of the Lakes?
Yeah, that one right there.
I can only imagine there'll be a handful of kids. But if you're thinking about SBAC, you look at 300 students. If you're thinking of,
but no, they're not all men.
right, but that's, so you can't you can't just put them in everybody's backpack. It'd be better to put it in the front office and let parents know. She would send a message out. Parents, if you want information about Miami Lakes, if you live in Miami Lakes and you would like information about special needs registry, come pick that up in the office. So she usually tells us when it's specific for cities. Like I saw one yesterday for kids that live in Kendall. And she's like, we have something in the office for you guys, come in and see it. You go get it or you don't. The only special needs private school that's in Miami Lakes, maybe the kids don't all live here either, is Angels Reach. And are they even open or
Yeah.
still working on their building?
Yeah, they are. They're right now, they moved,
I'm planning
right by Flanagan.
Oh, so they're gone, they moved again.
They're
I
still,
passed their building, I was like, there's nobody in there.
it's getting fixed and remodeled.
Well, we can just make it easy. We can just prepare 1,000 of votes.
No, okay,
No, I just,
I'm not
it doesn't
saying,
hurt to have extra on hand.
no, I'm not saying that. It depends on what we're gonna use this for. If you're gonna use it for, like you said, put it in the main office, 500 of them is fine. If you wanna reach, who is it you wanna reach? Again, if you're just putting in the office, yeah, that's gonna be fine.
What do you guys think?
Or,
more. If you need always get more. You can always get more.
Yeah, they're
Right?
printed quick, so if we see, okay, 500 wasn't enough, then we could just send more to print.
Okay then.
more or less 500, with shipping will be about 250, and 1,000 of the 5.5 by 8.5 is 1,000 for 150. Well, 8.5, like 7
Two-sided, double-sided?
Yeah. full cover.
So you're looking at $200, $300, $400, so 500 would work. Okay,
Okay, we actually do have, a contact is from AC Graphics. So we don't have in the moment, like at this moment, a quote for the 8.5 by 11 flyers, but for the 5 by 7. For a colored glossy double-sided 5 by 7. 75 at $72, 100 at $106, and 250 at $160.
We're looking for 1,000.
So you would do times four.
106 for, how many flyers for 6?
250. No, 100 for 106.
I'm sure they're
For
gonna.
$160, it would be the 250.
So we have 50 flyers for 160, so his price break would be 250, that's 4 times.
640.
No, he's gonna end up turn like $400 for 1,000 flyers.
Yeah, then I was right. We need to budget 1,000 on this. And we can always pull more from it if we need it. Or less. Let's do that. So scratch the previous motion, new motion on the table. $1,000 budget for the printing.
Okay.
I haven't been saying it yet. I love you. Okay, we're gonna do a motion for the printing of 2 flyers, the 5 by 7, the 8.5 by 11, a total of $1,000 out of what bucket? Community awareness, community awareness,
Yeah.
right?
But because it's a special needs registry.
Does the registry have its own bucket?
No. I'm just,
She-
I don't know if you
She's
know,
trying to find in her head,
yeah, like,
but out loud.
I was thinking community awareness as the first one that came to mind, but then I'm like, or. Do you have one for marketing? No, never did one for marketing.
Special-
We always said that. Okay.
Yeah. $1,000 from community awareness bucket to print 1,000 of the 5 by 7 prints and 500 of the 8.5 by 11s.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Project's ready. Just make sure that everything comes out. You know what? Can you ask them to do an initial print of both flyers, just one print, so that we can see a hard copy and make sure the colors and everything look right?
I'll double check. I don't know how long that will take, but I will find out.
But see if you can find out from
When's the head fair?
April 1st. So we've got
Yes.
from now to the end of this month to make them, they'll print it in a week. All I need is a picture. like a
Okay, but
text
here's,
message picture.
here's the problem you're gonna run into, then we have to meet again to discuss it.
For them to do a sample, they'll just probably send you a sample by email, that's the thing.
Well, I still need to see what it looks like printed, not digital.
Most of their equipment is not for short orders, short runs. Everything's gonna be
So
for,
when they get the order, they print it, no matter what.
they'll basically give you a sample by email. Of what it's gonna look like.
Print them anyway. We need them, so print them anyway. But if there's a way for us to at least see if everything looks okay, be nice. I don't think we need to vote on any changes for that.
But if there's changes, then we gotta go back and
Well,
I think we're good.
usually with, I don't know if it's the normal thing, but usually when I went to the printing thing, we would print it out and they would show me. And if the color was slightly off, all we had to do is say, the color is slightly
Do it
off,
again.
adjust it up. And they did it another one and it would be right and then you go over it, because we know what it looks like, we don't want to change
Yeah,
it.
that was when. All the technology, nowadays everything's digital, so basically the same color you see
Thanks
on
for
the
dating
screen.
me, thanks for dating me. Okay, that's done. Let's move on to the budget. Jesse has the floor.
Okay, so today I met with Gabby, I met with Melissa, and I also met with Clarissa. One of the biggest confusions that we had, and Gabby, please jump in whenever you like, correct me if I say something, or if I'm missing something, please feel free to add. One of the reasons that I forgot what it's called. The transparency.
The transparency module on the town's website.
Okay, transparency. So there's a way to look at it that is available to anyone, to the public, okay? It wasn't lining up to what we have, and the reason for that is because our budget is a carryover budget. We're the only ones that have that. So as of right now, the reason that we were showing negative and some of our, they prefer to use line items, so now let's try to use line items instead of buckets. Just because that's the
Sure.
right terminology. So the point is that it's showing as negative because we have expenditures, but we don't have anything allocated as of right now. It will be allocated in April, which is why we need to vote on it today. I wasn't gonna come to this meeting, I'm glad I was able to come. Because once I had this video, I'm like, I have to find a way to go. I was even gonna cancel my son's therapy, but point is, there's a few changes that we have spoken about previously, and we're gonna talk about that. If you want, yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
so these are, this is what our budget looks like. So, just pass them around. And
Now I remember it looking like this. This is how it started.
that's not the same format, you can say, of the transparency module, but that is, like what we as staff see. And, so there has been an update. I'll tell you now. So, all the way on this side, on the right, it says available budget. Under that, you see 2,220, then under 174, and then 285. That is like, that's like, ignore that for now. So because what we're dealing with the line items are the $200, the 2,567, and the 4,055.
Okay,
So
those I did not see earlier today, so I don't even know what that is. But okay, so as of right now, our budget is a total of 63,186. That is what we have now. It was explained to me that $9,330 of our budget is going to Gabby.
to the
liaison.
liaison, yeah.
Sorry, got it.
9,000.
That's the right way to say it.
9,000.
9,330. Yeah. That leaves us with a budget of 53,856.
Nice. Let's go buy a car.
What was the total again? Can you repeat it, please? The beginning one? No, the total.
The net?
Yeah. 53,856. 9,330.
And from this, we probably have to deduct what we voted on.
Correct, and that is, okay,
That has.
so there's a few parts, I'm gonna touch on integrated services. If you remember, some time ago, we had voted to have that changed to scholarships.
Yes.
So there was a line item that was actually created, which is not, it wasn't created by us, it was created by finance, that is called grants and aids. When it comes to financing, there's like certain like verbiage and certain account, and you know, those of you that know more about that, I'm sure will understand better. So Melissa was telling me that instead of scholarships, because we already have this grants and aids, we can just use that as the scholarship form, which there's another part to the whole scholarship. Now, something that we could do, and I asked her, was to get rid of integrated services as a line item. We haven't used it ever. It has no activity. So she said that that can be taken away, but that is something that I believe we have to vote on
Yes.
because it is a line item. So
And
to
you
have everything.
To tell council what you're planning to change it to, for them to approve.
Not for us, because our stuff is, because our budget is not city.
No, but to let them know.
Yeah,
What
because they
she
have
means
to-
let them know about the change.
Yeah, and then they have
But-
to approve it, and then finance can like change them.
You know, that's what that's
The
not
line-
what they told us.
Exactly, that was not told to us, and I was like, I don't understand what has happened.
That's the
So,
opposite of what they told us. They told us that we just tell them that we made the change because our budget was not it's not a tax funded budget, so therefore we have the right to manipulate it and change it however we want because it was donations. That's why I think it was Clara saw it. And she might have been wrong, but That's what we were told. That's why we got into this mess in the first place.
The thing, our budget does work different from everyone else, because everyone else, if they don't use it, that they lose it. Ours, no. Whatever we have left over carries forward to the following year. Now,
Yes, which, no, I actually do have it here, so yes, so. Oh, no, other than- Yes, so you guys have from fiscal year 2019 to 2020, 2020 to 2021, 2021 to 2022. You guys have always had like money left over, but you didn't like use all of it basically.
Right.
So you carried over from 2019 to 2020. 13,001. From 2020 to 2021, 4,117. 2021 to 2022, 11,872. So, that is what makes up the. Yeah, the remaining balance in total would be 37,327. So, yeah, so the remaining balance from the gala that was not utilized in the prior year was 37,327. And the donations received and awarded to the Special Needs Advisory Board at the fiscal year 2021-2022 Mayor's Gala was 25,859. For a total carry forward amount of 63,186. And then like you guys said, the amount would be 9,330 allocated towards the funding of the SNAB liaison. And then the remaining 53,856 is what you will decide to allocate a certain amount to all of the 5 line items.
Gotcha. So we have to allocate those the numbers. We have to divide that budget into 5, which we did this before. Now I remember doing this. It's been a while.
First, though, we need to, okay, I first want to make a motion to take away the integrated services. To keep the grants and aids as the line item, and whenever we are gonna give a scholarship, it would be from that as well.
All right, a second. All those in favor?
Because as of
Motion
right
passes.
now, we technically have 6 line items because of that grants and aids. So we would take that one away. Now, the other thing is the community.
Community awareness? No.
So will that have to go to
The
council?
life, I'm gonna let
I
you
have
know.
something to say about that.
Yes,
Yeah, in your committee report, I don't know if you use the same format that I used, but I used to have the budget, the different line items.
yes, so I
Buckets,
have the committee report here.
okay.
I'm so sorry. to
So
skip them, they're not-
so if we have that in the committee report, the council, when you go up there and present it, they approve that, so that they're approving all of that. I have to give this.
Yeah, that was, it was blank when I got it, so I don't know what it looked like before. So I filled it in, we never filled in the budget part because you said it was stuck, so we just left it blank. So, okay, so then we're putting, in these blocks here, we'll be putting the names in here and the amounts for each bucket. Or
The line item.
Okay, give me a second before we get into that.
No, I get you, I'm just talking to Vivian. I'm following to make sure that I understand. So then that'll be in there, but will we need to tell them, or will we need to tell them that we in the report, we removed this line item because it is no longer necessary or whatever, and replaced it with the other one? Is that what we're gonna tell them?
What I would do is I would maybe make a note of it under here,
Asterisk?
So I asked Clarissa about that. So like we were saying, grants and grants and aid, to make that scholarships. Right?
Oh, okay, so
That's what you,
They recommended to
But
her,
No, the
keep the name.
there's scholarship grants in it.
Melissa said to keep grants and aids.
The bucket,
We were gonna change the name integral to scholarship.
okay, exactly.
And
So,
now they want us to just, instead of scholarship, do the grants and aid.
and then there was another one that was,
The community programs.
yes,
I'm gonna get to it, but since they were talking about that.
no, it was just so about, yeah, so I guess just like the line items, since there were some that, like from what was showing up, that was not what we use, like the integrated services or whatever. Claire said that we could put whatever it's like originally said, like on like the paper, and then in parentheses or like slash the name that we have been, or that you all have been using.
Okay.
I-
So then we're gonna keep it, we're just gonna
No.
add?
No, I would rather.
No, but we
not do
would
that.
put it, I guess if you're gonna put it here.
Oh, okay.
I'll let
just-
you know
just
right
for
now.
the report, just for the
Yes,
report.
but I'll let you know right
Okay.
now about the, changing the name.
I think that would be, okay, that would make sense. If we put the original names in the activity list for the report. In my wording report, we can also include. And dear members of the council, we also have made some changes to our budget. We are changing the name of XYZ and we're deleting this one and replacing it with this so that we can. We can better. Comprehend the way that we're doing this. I don't know, I'll figure the wording out. Would that make sense? Then we're explaining to them why the previous version shows the old names and that we're changing those names for the next report. And then that way they can vote and say yes, that that's okay. We approve your changes and then all we have to do is just. Do it. Would that work?
Well, yes, so, the finance department would be notified that they approved it, and then they can.
Okay.
They have to input it.
Okay, that way we solve all the problems right now without having to deal with it. So that's what I will do when you finish your discussion on this. We'll put the original names in here. And in my verbal report, I will make note that in the budget, we are going to make the following changes and you just tell me what it is and I'll add it.
Okay, so then integrated services, like the motion was, get rid of it
Yes,
completely, okay? And then originally, we wanted to change it to scholarships, so now grants and aids will be the scholarships.
Mhm.
Okay, now then, the other one that we had wanted to change is, or was life and job skills to community programs. So I spoke, again, I spoke to Melissa and she says that, yes, we can change that. We don't need to vote, I just wanted to bring it up because we already did vote on this. But it does need to be brought before council. And also so that when we allocate the funds, not to see it as life and job skills, even though it's still showing up as that, but as community programs. So when we speak about it, we speak about community programs.
And that motion, for community programs and the other
I
one,
believe it was August.
yes, it was August 24th, 2022, when, sorry, I touched it. When that motion was made.
Any questions so far?
no, like, makes sense to me. It's just. They have technical things that they have to follow and we weren't aware of that.
Okay, yes, so on August 24th, yes, that motion was made. Change the bucket names, which is the list item name of integrated services to scholarships and life and job skills to community programs.
So the first one we already voted on, we're changing it completely, taking it out, and then the second one would be the community programs. Now, something else, the whole community programs and the scholarships. Okay.
Oh,
I'll
yes.
explain that one because Sarah's explaining it to you.
Okay, so
I'll tell
community
you,
programs.
this was a lot, like, and we're giving it to you like very short, it was a lot, I learned a lot.
So community programs is one line item. The other one is grants and aid, is money that would be donated to a certain
The
program. Yeah. So community programs, that money goes to a program within the town that the town is providing the facility. So for example, like the karate, the dojo program.
Yes.
That would be community program.
Yep.
The
I
arts for
believe
autism,
the
dance
dance
class.
class.
We've been saying it as scholarships, and technically they are scholarships, but because they're using our facility, then it's considered a community program. Now, a scholarship would be like the cooking class
That's up.
that was at GD's, because even though it's within the town, it's now one of the city. Yeah, it's a little bit, like, at first, it took a while for it to.
The only difference is
Yeah.
where it's being held.
Exactly. So moving forward, like when we vote on the arts project, something else, I almost forgot, we do have to go to council and approve that amount. In the past, they've approved, like they've gone ahead and paid for it, they've sent out the check and it's gone through. But they said that that's not how it should be, even though they are an approved vendor and all of that, we still have to go before council and get that amount approved.
Every time?
So what's the minimum then? 500 is the minimum we can approve?
It's supposed to be, actually, it's supposed to be 700. Now you said that.
Yeah, so
Right.
anything under 700, we weren't supposed to have to go.
Yeah, so now the 1,000 for the flyers, I'm wondering if we should put it at 700 better.
What do we split them up?
Yeah. we
Five
just split them up, 'cause
The 5x7 and
That's
five.
what Clarissa and Melissa both said today.
That anything over $700, we want to take it to the council.
The 5,400, well, the 700, that was sent us from the beginning.
Yeah.
Again, that was I remember Vivian and I both being there. We were told we didn't have to go before council because our budget was donations and it doesn't count. It's not having to be approved by the council.
So the
Because
$700 doesn't.
That's what they told us. Now, if they want to change their mind on that, that's fine, but they had said.
Or they're
The
confused.
700 today, but it has been mentioned to us before.
Right, Victoria was the one who mentioned it to us. She said, you can't approve anything over 700. What are you talking about? We've been doing it for 3.5
Unless
years.
again, they're confused where that
Maybe-
ours is different.
That's what I think.
yeah, because Victoria's probably,
We turn this in when we do, at least when I used to do the report. You know, that they're approving these amounts for these line items. Old wording bucket. So that's it, it's approved. We can use that money with it. They approved it. They read it, they voted on it, the council voted, they approved it. So
That's
we
right.
don't have to go back.
That's what they told us.
So the
Yeah.
best way, now that Vivian said that, I would say the best way to go about this is. If the dance classes are coming up and our committee report is due, let's say in July, and we need to vote. The new classes start again September, I'm just throwing out dates out there. Then in that committee report, let's go ahead and already have that amount that we already voted on, so when we present our budget. We can already have that,
But we do,
instead of having to go again.
right, but we do have it, because
Right now we do, right now we have it for the. For the 5,400, but what I mean is moving forward.
right, so when, so. The dance class is gonna go under community programs, right?
Correct.
So if we assign, let's say, we have what, how much, $53,000. So if we assign $20,000 to community programs. And it's in the report, and they vote on and approve the report, that's it, we can use those $20,000 for. The dance class, if they approve the. The martial arts, the martial arts starts.
That's what I'm telling you. I think they.
Okay, that part then, I don't know. And Melissa was gonna try to come to the meeting today. She said she was gonna try that. I think that's gonna be something that I'm gonna have to ask. Because they both said it today. Where we do have to get approval from the council for that amount. So I don't know if it's because the funds haven't been forwarded yet or carried forward yet. I don't know if that's why, or if that's
It was
what they're
Maryland.
expecting.
It was Maryland who told us that we didn't have to do that because our budget was not a city budget part.
Well,
That's who it was.
You know what?
Do you remember
I
that?
think we're just gonna have to maybe ask Melissa to come here. Because I want us all to be on the same page, and I don't want information to get lost, because I'm bringing the information. I think if we're able to ask her all the questions that we have. Then we can, we can all understand better, whether it's a lack on their part or a lack on our part, so we can, because
I mean, otherwise.
The
we're gonna
information
be at
given
every
us is-
council.
That's right.
I
And
understand
don't
exactly what.
see- And I don't see any other committee doing it. I see that the committees, they go twice a year, they go with a report, with their list of stuff. I mean, Madeline, you're in another committee. You guys go to council every single week to ask
No,
for stuff.
but at the last meeting, we went over $700 and
That's what I've heard. If
That,
you
yes.
go over 700, if you budget $1,000 and you went over $700, then you have to go and ask to reallocate the money and all of that.
My understanding was whenever
Not
something
something over
was more than
700.
700 in total. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what again, if I'm wrong, I apologize. I'm gonna talk to Melissa. We're gonna have to have her in one of our meetings because.
Yes, so, I actually just asked her, so to change a name on a line item. There's no council approval needed.
that's what I thought.
That's what
It's
Melissa
just a
said.
vote
Wait,
by the
that's to
committee.
change the name.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay,
That answers that
which is
question.
what Melissa had said, but then.
So we don't have to say anything to the council about changing the name, we just change the name. That takes care of
But
that
then
question.
Clarissa told you that after we had the meeting, that we did.
The thing about the committee report and the budget section,
Okay,
that's what she told me about the community programs and the life and job skills. Like,
okay,
since they're two different names to put both of them.
okay,
Just to clear.
On the report.
okay. So now, and what about the amount, the 5,400?
Yes, so.
Did you say anything on that?
We're supposed to
That
divide
is-
them into the. We're supposed to pick how much we want on each line item. That's what we did every year before the committee report.
I understand it. I just, they both said today, but Melissa and Clarissa, that amount needs to go before council.
Yes,
But I understand the whole, like, oh, every time we're gonna do something, so what, we need to like understand how we're gonna do things because, so we can do things right, and if we need to go before council, we figure it out, and if we don't need to go before council, so there's no confusion and wrong.
I think Vivian's right. I mean, it makes, I'm pretty sure that we voted on. Because when Carlos was doing this, he created we had the exact number, exact 53,000, whatever, and down to the pennies. We had to divide that amongst the line items. And then we chose what we wanted in each line item, and then we went before council approved it, and then we just spent that money in that line item. Until it was at zero. If we went over, we had to go back and ask them to move money from one of our others, and we did that one, didn't we?
For the most part, I don't know if you remember this, but when we would allocate money, we would try never to go over 700 on a specific line item. And we would even try to use a different one, so we wouldn't go over the 700, because it's 700 per line item. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that.
So let's say if we wanted to do, one of the line items, community awareness, okay, 700, okay, then the other one. So then we would try not to go over the 700, and if it did, then we'd be like, okay, we could get them that from community programs.
Then if that's the case, then what we're gonna have to do is for community programs, we're gonna have to get every one of our programs that we've approved. We need a total budget for the whole entire year until February of next year,
I'm gonna find
whatever,
out,
and then we budget that number.
I'm gonna reach out to Melissa, and I'm gonna ask her to not just clarify, but I'm gonna ask her if she
Yeah.
can please come to our next meeting.
Find that out.
So basically today, what's very important is to allocate the funds to each line item, because since she's gonna carry it forward, she needs to have this information by this month, by the 29th. But she needs to present it to council. We're already on the agenda, because again, ours is the only one that carries forward, so it's already there. And she's gonna speak on it, so that way she has this information and she can already, once the carry forward happens, then that's when we'll see in the. You see, I don't think even. Describe, what is it?
The transparency model,
Transparency, there it is, transparency model. Then we'll see there the correct information, something else that was explained. It is updated daily or nightly, every night it gets updated, but whatever is done with credit card, that'll usually take about a month. Okay, so And that is open to everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I learn how to do it well, because when they've done it, they've had a pretty hard time too, so I'm gonna make sure that I get it right. And I wanna show all of you, so you can also, whenever you like, you can see our budget, and not just ours,
Live.
the whole town.
Yeah, it'll be live.
Yeah, so you can, I mean, anyways,
prepared for it.
you can always reach out to me, or, of course, Gabby. Something else, the Gabby,
Yes,
what they had said about,
yes. But before that, so just to clarify, so yes. So, if you do want to change the name, then to change a name on a line item, you don't need council approval, okay? You just need to vote as a committee. So, then we would send that to the finance department, and if they cannot comply with that request to change the name of the line item, then they'll advise us, and then maybe if you can create a new line item.
yeah, because like I was saying, they said that it has to be like specific wording and certain accounts, because if it's,
So we voted to get rid of the other.
So we already voted on that, on the integrated services, we already made our motion, we already voted,
And
and
the
then
other one already
the
exists.
community programs is going to change, because those are in the minutes already, so we don't need to vote on that. She just needs to send her the minutes, so,
And the one item that's already in existence, we're just kind of like pushing it in to where integrated services was.
no, integrated services, we're taking
I
it
know,
out.
I'm saying
completely.
it's gone, and now our other.
Grants and aids,
Grant is the fifth one now.
Okay,
yes,
I'm sorry. What we voted on was to change integrated services to scholarships.
all right,
That's what we voted on. We did not vote, as of today, on the new one, which instead of scholarship, and we're gonna keep the grants.
Oh, so
And
we
then-
need to vote to keep it.
Correct.
Okay.
And then the
it's
life,
already there.
Yeah.
We don't need to vote to keep it, it's already here.
no, the life and job school is fine, because it's already we voted for community programs, which is what we
Mhm.
changing to. The integrated services, we changed the name to scholarships.
No, we didn't change it,
Then we just.
That's what we had voted on.
Right,
But our motion today was to get
Integrated.
rid of integrated
And we did that.
services. Yes,
They added the other line item themselves, and it just happens
Right.
to be right in line with what we want, so we'll just leave it alone.
And
Because that's okay with everyone.
I specified
That's
before
fine.
the motion. There was a line item previously called grants and meetings. And you were recommended to remove it, previously integrated services to scholarship. And then the motion. So can somebody please, what are the line items?
okay,
Yeah,
so
so
the
hold on,
line,
I'm so sorry, just one moment. Another question. The question that you guys had about going to council if, the amount that's being allocated to a certain event or program exceeds $700? That's what you guys are told?
yes,
Okay, so the question is, if you want to allocate an amount over 700, do you need approval from council?
yes.
Okay. I'll let you go.
Go ahead with.
Okay, so the 5 will be. Okay, let me see what we have here. Because you see right now we're showing here.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
if, I
fine.
don't know if you want to write it down. Okay, so the 5 are community awareness, community programs, social and recreation programs, training, which training is, the whole name is training for staff, first responders, officials. And then the 5th one is grants and aids, and in parentheses, it says others.
okay, go back to training.
The training one says training for staff, first responders, officials. Because when we do our, like, the training that we had, the behavior workshop, we considered it a training. It was open to everyone, so,
That's right.
I think we don't have a problem calling it a training. What's number 4? Number 4? No, training. The social and recreation is 3. I mean, that's the order that it's in right now. So number 1, community awareness. Number 2, community programs. Number 3, social and recreation programs. Number 4, training. And then the whole name, training for staff, first responders, officials. And then the last one is grants and aids, parentheses, others. And then our total is 53,856. I think that the one that the most money should be allocated to is community programs, being that as of right now, we already have not a deficit, but you know, to be paid $5,400 for the Arts for Autism, the dance class. And then hopefully soon we'll be able to do the dojo and then the
art program.
the animation.
The animation program.
So what is the difference between community programs and social and recreational programs?
I believe social and recreational programs were like our
When we do painting with a
painting with
twist,
twist.
like so that's more social and recreation. I don't know why it says programs.
Wasn't it because of where the location is? Isn't that what?
No, that's community. What you're thinking is community programs and grants and aids. Depending where it's being held. If it's a community program that we are putting on and where it's at one of our facilities, or if
Those are the
it's
two.
like the cooking class at GB's,
And the social one was for us to do events.
correct.
Right,
Like when
that's
we've
not an
done-
event.
When we've done the. Social recreation.
You want to change the name?
Single,
It's easy.
single events, not a program, not classes,
Yeah,
not.
not programs, just
Just event. Okay. Okay, I make a motion to change line item social and recreation programs to social and recreation events. Is that better?
those in favor.
Right.
Aye.
Okay, I have an update, so, yes, so anything over $700 does need council, anything below does not. You just need to vote as a committee on any transfer and movement of money, which you guys have done, and they didn't.
Can you specify with her, even though we are not,
Even though we're not.
Even though our money comes from donations.
Yeah, specify that. Ask her, they were told by a council member that we weren't supposed to do that because our monies were donations and not tax recipients, whatever you call them.
Also, if the line items were approved by the council during the committee report, we still have to go again and ask for it again if it's something over $700? Because if they approved in the committee report $10,000 for community programs, and we're using it for community programs, why do we have to go again and ask for it again?
I have a-
Understand what I'm saying?
I think that
Yes.
I have a question. Can you ask her, if we can call her so we can ask the questions? Because I think it's a lot for you to write. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember everything.
Maybe,
No, I don't mind, but,
maybe she's available and then we can just ask the questions now and get it out of the way. I think that would be, if she can.
Can we do that? When we're Zoom on speaker or?
I know we've done it before, like when we
Yeah.
first started, I remember we.
it'd be like her being a person, because she's on our video, we're in person, she's just on a phone. We're getting clarification onto
They
what
do
we're
it in
voting
the
for.
townhouse. Please, they have people on Zoom and.
Yeah. Because I think this is important.
You know, we want to
Yeah,
hear it
we
right.
needed to, for a report, if we're gonna do the report next month. I believe we're in the agenda.
No, or be at our next meeting.
So why?
yes, she said that she will.
We also need to vote to approve, which we couldn't approve to vote on it. To Vote to approve the committee report because we didn't have the budget.
So do we need to amend,
She says, yes, we can.
Oh, no, I'm
wait,
sorry.
I apologize.
do we need to amend our vote for the flyers to 700?
If that is what she's saying, then I would say let's amend it. If her answer is yes.
Or can we split it? The card, the 5x7, I would think
No,
this
that's-
much.
That's they have to be two programs. We're allowed to vote up to 700 on two line items, not two flyers. That's the problem. Because the flyer is still a flyer, it's still coming out of the same line item. We'd have to take it out of two line items to get two separate prices for you. And we could, but technically it's not what we're supposed to do because the line item is preserved.
It's the same.
Community awareness is supposed to be what we use for printing a flyer.
So if we were to pick only to print one flyer. And the next meeting, we vote on the next, that we didn't have two different transactions. Or
But then we
still
won't
count
have
one.
them for the healthcare. No, yeah. It
No,
would be
but-
different. It would be different, but that's.
We can have the card, which is for the welfare and the 8x12.
Yeah, we could do that. We could just remove it, and lower it to 700 and just do the 5x7.
But we don't. I mean, yes, we can, but what if it doesn't even
Or we
go
could
over the
just-
700?
Or we could just ignore it, like we always do, and just let it go.
Say that a little bit louder.
We've been doing that for 3.5 years and nobody stopped us. I'm almost positive, I remember Marilyn coming in and telling us that our budget was different because it was a donation budget. That we're not under the same rules for how we spend the money. Because it's not it's not taxed money. She said, I remember her saying that you guys can spend it however you
Not
want.
town funds money.
We just had to, I think it was the budget director 2 years ago sat in one of our meetings and he said to us that, or the finance, whatever the person from upstairs, I don't know if it's the same person. And all we had to do was vote to approve our budget of as much as we have. And then allocate it to whatever line item it needed to be in. And then after that, we write the checks all day long.
Wasn't the same impression as well?
That's what we were told.
Okay, I guess when she gets the answer, do you guys wanna go putting the money towards the line items?
Yeah, we might as well.
I also before we get on to doing that,
It's a heads up, it's
I
six
would
four.
like to add to the committee report.
He said, I'm so sorry,
No, go
that
ahead.
we can call her.
Okay,
Let's do it now. Get it over with.
Yeah,
Hold your thought, Vivian.
it's getting loud.
Vivian's like, I'm gonna get a bow and arrow and throw it at this time.
Oh.
Don, we used to do these
Oh,
reports.
Thank you so much.
Okay, she's gonna add.
No, she's coming.
Oh, she's
Here?
upstairs?
I'm assuming she's upstairs. I don't know.
I'll do that too.
All right, well, let's quickly do the numbers. What'd you say the total was?
53,000.
856.
856.
Okay, so 50.
That is the total. Well, that's the total
After,
After you,
after.
yes, okay. I think, Vivian, what do you think? Shouldn't the highest number be?
It should be in community programs and social and rec events.
What do we put in there?
Do we have any idea how much we used last year?
I believe we put 10 grand in each one of those buckets last year.
Something like that.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Do we really need 10,000 training?
No.
no, we don't, no, and that's why, and that's one of the things that I was talking to Gabby about. We shouldn't allocate that much money to something that we don't use often. Because we're already on a good year. What happened also when we budgeted everything, then pandemic hit, so
Yeah,
everything kind of just stayed there stagnant. So moving forward, we need to, less here, like, as I was going through it, I was thinking community awareness and training. That those two would be probably of the least. Definitely training, because we don't do that many trainings, and even when we do, it's not that much money. The community programs, that one should
It's
be
pretty high.
pretty, yeah, because right now, we're already 5,400,
And that's those are the things that we do as well.
and that's the biggest thing.
well,
Yeah.
we can make it simple.
Like about 10,000 in the dance class a year.
So now add to that the dojo.
So why don't we make it simple? Why don't we just go and do the small ones right now?
Correct. The
Let's do,
small ones first.
should we do 5,000 in community awareness?
Community awareness, I'd say a little more than that, because we
That's what we
do
use for
our
marketing.
flyers, marketing.
Let's start with the least one would be training.
I would say training would be the least.
What do you think for training?
2,000, 3,000?
I say like
Figure we do like. How much is it? 6 years of six trainings a year
Mhm.
about.
And each
And
one we
we
do
spend like what, like
$300.
$200 in food
And then how much it costs to
Like
you have to pay the
150
person.
to 150 to 200, and then technology, so what, maybe like
30,000?
600? Give or take.
So if you,
So 600 and we do six, that's 3,600, so 5,000.
5,000. That's an easy one to do. Remember, we can move them out of there if we ever have to.
Exactly. If anything, if we ever need to, change anything, we can always go back.
Once-
I
we'll
think
do
once
a-
we have all
do
the
the whole
numbers,
thing, yeah.
then we'll just.
So we've got training 5,000.
Okay, so trainings are 5,000. Next one. What's the next,
The grants, staff, grants and aid. Number 5.
Yeah, I think that would be the next lowest one.
Which one?
Like, okay,
Grants
so we
and
did GDs.
staff and aid.
Okay, we did
It
it
was
2,000.
no, it was
Okay.
well, yeah.
The 1,000 that we did now for the table, where that came from.
that did not say where it came from. I'll double check, but I don't think it's right.
And that should go into the. I believe that will go into social recreation or. So then. Or like community
Or would
awareness.
it be grants?
No,
No.
I think it.
Hello, everyone.
I think.
So this is Melissa.
Hi, nice to meet all of you. Okay, so I understand you guys have some questions. I don't have my laptop in front of me. Hopefully I won't have to run upstairs and get it, but if I do, I will.
I guess the easiest thing to do is just kind of start and tell you where we are from what we've been told.
Okay.
So when we first all got together, because our board's pretty much now been together for a long time. One of the first things we were told was that our budget was different than the rest of the committees because our budget is donations. Therefore, some of the things that we did, we didn't have to do the same thing as other committees, such as going before a council every time we approve a committee program.
So you follow the same rules as all the other committees. We have rules for all committees. It's on our town website and that applies to every single committee for the town. The only thing that sets you apart from the other committees is that you are solely donation based from the mayor's gala. That's what makes you different from the other committees.
So if we have 3 or 4, go ahead, Faye.
Okay, so my question is, when we do the committee report
Mhm,
twice a year,
mhm.
that we turn in like the line items with the amounts and the town council approves the report and everything that's in there. Does that mean that then we have to go again and
So
get-
I don't know what committee report it is that you guys submit to council. I only do the budget aspect of it. Okay, so you understand my budget process. Because you guys are different and you're solely on donations, the mayor's gala happens at the end of the fiscal year. Our fiscal year runs from October 1st to September 30th. The mayor's gala is usually the last week of September, which technically falls in last year's fiscal year. So I don't carry funds over from the prior year. So March, it goes on first reading, and then in April and second reading. When the council approves it on second reading, then I make the adjustments. So right now, you have 0 budgeted dollars, but that doesn't mean that you don't have funds. Obviously, I know that you do because you haven't spent all your funds from the year before. So I'm sure Gabby has already explained this. You have 37,000 that's carried forward from the year before. And then you have the 25,000 that is from the mayor's gala that happened in September for a total of 63,000. So you guys don't get any allocation until that time, where other committees, their funding comes from the general fund, not from donations, so they get a budget from the beginning of the fiscal year. Unfortunately for you, we don't carry funds over because we have an audit process that we go through, and we don't complete that. It's not presented to council till April. So I actually start a month before presenting this to council, and if there's any changes I need to make, then I make it on second reading for April.
Say that.
I was over. I don't know what other questions you may have. I hope
So
I'm
we
answering.
go over the 700. We,
So right now, you don't have, like, you can't be requesting the transfer funds because you don't have any funds budgeted. Right now, what she presented to you, I assume, because I wasn't here for the first half of the meeting, was what you need to allocate to the accounts. And then once your accounts are allocated, let's say then you spent, you allocated 5,000 in the line item, but you're realizing we want to continue to utilize funds in that line item, and you have funds available in another line item, then you can transfer those funds to the other line item. If it's over $700, then you do need to request council approval to move the money. If it's below 700, it's within the manager's threshold. So the manager gives me the authority to be able to move the funds. However, what I need from you is I need committee vote that you're all in agreement of moving these funds.
But like, okay, for example, the 5,400 of the Arts for Autism, you and Clarissa both said that needs to be presented to council.
The 53,000?
No,
it's
no,
a
the
pro- it's a
5,400 that is giving,
So,
that we're
okay,
giving.
so that's something else. Now, if you're wanting to give a donation to another organization, the correct best practice is that you do advise the council that you want to give these funds to another organization. Because technically, the sponsorship dollars that you received were for you as a committee. So the best practice is that you do advise council, hey, we have $1,000, we would like to donate it for X and Y.
This
Yes.
is, but this isn't a donation. This is to pay a program we're
To
providing.
pay a program, that's something different. But if it's to give a donation, like last year, there was about $1,100 that you gave, I can't remember right now, to an organization. That should have been approved by the council. That should have been told to the council, hey, we're gonna give this check to this organization. However, if it's to pay for a program, that's completely different. So like she was telling me, there's a line item you guys want to create that's called community programs. Okay, you have allocated, but right now you don't, but you will in April, based on whatever you guys approve as a committee, that gives me the authority then to go ahead and allocate the fund.
There you go. That's the answer to your question.
Okay.
So we don't have to go before council to tell them that we're paying Arts for Autism $5,400 to do the programs for the year.
No, what,
We just make sure that budget has that.
yeah, if you have budget,
Yeah.
if you have budget for it, then you're fine. Now, if you exceed your budget, so let's say that's where also Gabby is in communication. One thing I also want to state, if there's anything that you want to communicate to any town staff, please always include your liaison so that she's in the loop and she knows what's going on, because she is the one that's going to be directly communicating with you over anyone else. You can always email me. I am always open to emails. I always respond to my emails, but you need to always make sure that Gabby is included because she is the liaison of this committee. Sorry, I go off on a tangent a bit and I like ran over here, so forgive me for my craziness. You had said something and then I went off on a tangent.
No, that answers the question. I think that answers one of the most important questions that we had, was just that we were going on about the fact that we always paid all these programs without ever having to go before council for every program we do. So we budget our number in our line item. It's approved by council once the budget's approved. And then our payments go out to all of our programs. The only thing we have to go before a council for is if we decide to donate money to an organization.
Or, for example, if you go over budget on a line item, or you foresee that you want to spend more than what you have allocated to, you can move funds from another line item that you have available for that.
So that's the 700.
So anything above 700, if it's below 700, I just need the minutes of this committee approving it as a committee. That goes to me, and we have a memo that our manager signs, it comes back to me, and I make the adjustment.
That makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
Any other questions finance wise? And we can just change the names. So if we want to change the way it sounds, we just
So-
change it.
As I was telling Jesse earlier today. Finance, we have certain rules and regulations that we have to follow in how an account is created. So my recommendation is go ahead, make your motion on what you want. And then when Gabby then submits that to me, then I will sit with our finance director and we can figure out how we can comply with your request. And if we cannot, then again, she will inform you as to why and what other suggestion we may have to be able to comply with your request.
Perfect. I think that answers the question. That was the biggest problem. We didn't want to go before the council every week.
No, you don't. The only time is when you have reports or whatever again, I'm not the liaison, I don't know all the ins and outs of committees, I know the budget aspect of it, because that's what I do. But the only time you really need to request stuff is when you're going to move funds that's above 700. Or if you want to give a donation to another organization.
So for example, just to make sure and be very clear. We want to allocate $1,000 to make flyers.
Okay,
We don't have to go before council.
no, so,
As long as we have it on.
so right now, I have a memo that's going before council on Tuesday. It was published already, so it's on the town website. It's called budget amendment. In that budget amendment, I am requesting to council to carry forward the amount that she has already told you guys. And how I stated it is that I would allocate the funds as the committee directs. So when you guys have your motions and all of that on what you agreed on, and I get that, in second reading, I will then put what the allocations are so that it's clear. So you will see, and then that will automatically get approved because the council will approve it in that budget amendment that I will be doing.
And right now, we're deciding where that money is gonna go onto each line item, so that you'll get a report from us of where we think each line item, how much is gonna be in that line item, and so we can keep track of the full amount.
Yes,
One last question. Do all the other committees, pay their liaison from the budget?
so we have town staff and these committees have been, like I said, you guys are special and different. You had money that's been carrying over for a couple of years and hasn't been utilized. You did have a liaison before that she was being paid. However, she's no longer here, so we have Gabby and we're utilizing.
You said who were they?
No, I know it's social affairs. She will help you allocate these things. Yeah, it is social affairs.
My bad.
Any other questions? I ran away.
Thank you so much.
No worries. I'm like 2 minutes away from here. Living your life? Huh? You got here fast. I actually live here in Eagles Nest. So
Is your house?
she called me, I told her I'll come. I told her that I was gonna see if I could come for the whole meeting. But she's like, she was asking like, I'll just come.
All right, so we only have 2 more minutes left.
Yes.
Let's try and nail down this budget so we can get out.
Thank you so much. for your-
Thank you. You're welcome, guys. Have a great evening. Hope you get your stuff done.
We will. We're gonna come- All right, so we
Thank
just
you.
put $5,000 into the
Right.
training budget. Let's go to the next one that you think will be the.
The grants,
Okay, so 5,000 return to training.
Yeah.
The grants,
How much money do you guys think we're gonna donate this year?
But isn't the grants the ones that
would be
are
like,
not on,
like Gigi's, for example, the cooking class.
And Hope for Autism, anything we do for them, right?
Hope for Autism,
That's
always
not
put it
on-
under social and recreation events.
yeah, because it's done in one of our facilities.
No, I'm sorry, wrong. No, that's Arts for Autism. I'm talking Hope for Autism.
Yeah, Hope for Autism is what I'm talking about. Arts for Autism is under community programs.
So Hope for Autism.
We do it under social and recreation.
So grants,
That one of.
And it's social, it's a social event.
And then
so
what-
grants 3,000,
No, I would make it, I keep it at 5 or up. So if we're gonna
I'd
do.
say at least like 7 or 8,000 there.
I go 10.
so 10 on each one,
no, 10 on grants.
Town grants. That puts us at 38.
38.56.
Yes. What's the next one then?
The next one would be community awareness would be the next.
And that covers what?
Printing flyers, buying stuff.
Marketing, basically anything marketing.
What he's gonna buy, that comes under community awareness, because that's
Yeah.
what we're paying attention so we can have a
Yes,
space.
yes.
I
So
think-
on average, how much are we spending on that?
So 5,000, so no, maybe.
Why don't we do 8,856?
Okay.
yeah, and then flat on the other two.
15 and 15?
So that was community awareness, is 8,552.
56.
556, and then the other two are 15 and 15. Everyone like that?
Yeah. We can always move, so.
So we have 30, okay, so 15 and 15. I'm thinking better,
2010?
I was thinking 20, yeah.
We'll
The
put 20
community
for
programs, I think
program.
is one of the bigger ones.
The 2010?
20, I'll file it. I assume 20 would make sense because we've got a lot of programs. we're
And
trying to run.
we're already spending 5,400 already.
So 20 goes into program and into, that's the events one, right?
Yeah. And
Is everybody okay with that?
What with the motion?
All right, I motion to approve the budget as presented with,
I think we should say specific.
Yes.
I'm gonna let you, I'm gonna let her say the specifics. Go ahead.
Okay, so,
Actually, why don't you make the whole motion? Scratch my motion, you make the whole motion.
okay, so I motion to approve the allocation of funds as follows. To community awareness, so that line item $8,856. To the line item community programs, $20,000. To the line item social and recreation events, $10,000. To our training for staff and so forth, line item $5,000. And for our line item grants and aids, which is also our scholarships, is $10,000.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Budget done. So now all I need to do is incorporate what you said there into this report. And then we're good to go.
Everyone's fine. The report,
We can't review it right now.
but we need to approve it now to be able to present the council in April.
Isn't our meeting before the council meeting?
No.
Yes, but it
Yes,
doesn't give us enough time to be able to
We need 2
present it.
weeks or 1
It
week?
needs to be, it
They told me
needs to
March
be sent
30th,
by the
29th.
29th of,
You guys trust me?
yes.
So then motion
Well-
to approve the report to council with the addition of the new budget information
Yes.
added in, submitted to Gabby.
Exactly.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So that way now we can go ahead and do the.
During the meeting?
Okay, anything else, guys? In that case,
Yes.
I want to go ahead and motion to adjourn the meeting here at 7:03 PM.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.